Whoops, I totally lost my connection. I hope people are able to rejoin. I'll give it a minute. Looks like maybe I'll let Scraggles in. I don't see her out here in the backyard. Sometimes she disappears. She's quite small. Um, Ruh-roh. I'll hang out a bit and see if anybody comes back. There's a couple people. That's good. Hi again. Yeah, I lost my connection. I actually had this on the Wi-Fi and I wandered too far and it died. So, whoops. Yeah, this is part 2. I'll turn the camera around. Yeah, so anyway, these are daylilies down here. They're just tiny little sprigs of daylilies. Those will be big soon. Well, in the fall. This right here is actually... This is actually a black-eyed Susan, but it's not your normal black-eyed Susan. This is the gigantic black-eyed Susan that I've heard can get to be 9 feet tall. So we'll see how that goes. This is a canna lily that'll be really pretty next year. It's kind of new. I just put it in the course recently, but it's a very beautiful variegated version. You check out these awesome leaves. And I believe it has bright pink flowers, but it hasn't bloomed for me yet. I haven't had it long enough, so we'll see what it turns out to do next year. This is one of my favorite elephant ears, and it's really getting blown around. The hurricane that came through last, what knife do I use for gardening? I actually do have a gardening knife. I think it's in the garage. You'll probably see that later, but it's about a foot long, give or take, and it's serrated on one side and sharp on the other, and it's got little depth measurements, so I can use it for digging. It's a Japanese knife. It's like a Nakasu or something like that. I forget. Yeah, it is a nice deep green, and they tend to be cup-shaped. Let's see if I can get one that's not in the shadow. There we go. So these guys are cup-shaped. I think this one is called coffee cups. There's one called teacups, I think, that's slightly smaller, but it's actually a pretty young plant. I only got it this year and put it in, so let's see. Actually, it says here, I think I have coffee cups. Let's see. Yep, this is Colocasia coffee cups, which is a beautiful deep green. It's like got these purple veins on the back. The stems are purple and also thick. Like when I dig this guy up, and I will have to dig it up, the thing with elephant ears here is that they're marginally hardy. So if we get another cold winter, it'll probably kill them off. So when we get a frost, a legitimate one, these leaves will wilt hard. And I'll just chop those off and dig up the root ball, the tuber sort of thing, and take that inside. Basically, you cut off the roots and just dry it out, and it's fine next year. So that's the story there. This was a bee balm that's totally dead now. This is like a random... I don't know what it is. It's a bulb of some kind that I got, so we'll see what happens next year. It's like a little strappy leaf, so I'm guessing it's a kind of surprise lily. This is a mum that might actually still bloom. I just got this a couple of weeks ago and put it in. But it's going to be a single red mum. Ought to be pretty big. This is the Japanese maple back here. Another little chrysanthemum. Probably not going to bloom this year. Probably already did. But it's brand new. This is a rose of some variety. It's got a couple of buds on it still, but it's getting late to be a rose. Then this is a garden that I put in a year or two ago. Got a big crepe myrtle here. It's about done. These guys are another one that I can never remember the name of the darn thing. And there's another tiny one right here, but it didn't come with a name tag, so I forgot to put a name on it. Or maybe it did, and we'll look through a pot here in a second. This is a contorted privet, called that way because look at these crazy leaves, man. Some privets are really annoying, but because they have lots of fruits, lots of flowers, and the birds take them and plant them everywhere, and they get kind of invasive, but this version does not do that. A couple little crepe myrtle sprouts that I will probably dig up and put in next year. This is a swamp, like a Louisiana iris. There's some, shoot, what are these dead things called? I mean, they don't look like anything now. Rose mallow, the flowers are about this big and they're circular. Crud. I hate when that happens. I don't remember what they're called. Oh well, I've got a lot of plants, man. These are some more cannas. These are head high on me, so these are about 6 feet tall and still blooming, which is kind of interesting. Look at these beautiful little blooms. These are also new. I just put these in as a rhizome this year. So this is actually just kind of a holding spot for these. I wasn't sure where I'd put them, and actually these are too tall, so I'm going to put them in the back of this border. They'll probably go along the fence, and they won't get crowded out by these hibiscus. Rosemellow hibiscus, that's what these were. They come back every year, they're hardy, no problems. Some more big hostas. These are actually gladiolus. I like to put the gladiolus in with the hostas because they come up around the same time, but the gladiolus gets really tall very quickly, and so the hostas don't overcrowd it or anything, but it makes a nice little combo. Let's see if I have a pot here. These are some pat. Crocosmia, that's the thing. This is Crocosmia George Davison, which is actually an orange one. So the big bunch of them that I have right here are bright red, and they have like a, I don't know what the best way to describe them is. I mean, they look like they might be kind of an irisy sort of thing, but they're really not. I don't have a picture of them, but if you Google Crocosmia, that'll give you some nice ideas what they look like. And they come in orange and red and white and all kinds of things. Let's go around the side here and then check out the front yard. Here are some extreme post-its. Still hanging tough, man. No problems at all. I mean, they do look gross. Like, it looks like some mildew is starting to grow on them, but they're still there, man. If this was a painted fence, I'd be worried, but it's PVC, so they are extreme indeed. These are more black-eyed Susans. In fact, most of this bed here, all this stuff is just black-eyed Susans I cut down. Their stems stay up forever, so you gotta cut down the flower stems. But this green stuff will persist all the way through the winter. We have some sedum over here, which is kind of done. This is another canna, which might actually bloom. Look at that. Yeah, we'll see if this blooms or not. This is actually a purple canna. It's kind of like a purple with a green tinge in the leaf. We'll see what color these are, but I bet they're gonna be bright orange. That's my hope. I actually need to move these probably over here to this other stand of canna because they come up a little bit late, and the black-eyed Susans just overgrow them, and that's why they look all spindly, because they're just now getting light. It's crazy how fast these black-eyed Susans grow. So those guys are gonna move, but for now, they're cool. I also took this sod up here, but I didn't get a chance to work all this, so this may or may not be a garden. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. But it does make it easier to plant some stuff in here, like these big stands of cannas. Right here, still blooming. I love cannas. They really remind me of home. When the flowers are done, you get these awesome seed pods. Look at these things. How cool are these weirdos? So yeah, those will dry up and bust open and there'll be seeds, but these don't really grow from seed much, so I'm not really sure what the purpose of that is, but these grow from, like, the easiest way to propagate them is you just take a piece of the rhizome at the bottom, you just dig it up. It's not a big deal. These I've actually just put in because I've just gotten them. These are some nice purple-leaved cannas again. This is a bright green one with a different kind of flower to it, but again, very new. So not much to talk about there. This little mess right here is one that I actually haven't mowed right here for a bit because there are foxgloves growing in here. This was a foxglove flower a while back. I let the seeds go because it's tend to plant themselves better than they do living. So this right here is foxglove. So I don't want to cut this out. I might have to hand weed this, which will suck, but you know, I didn't plant them there, they planted themselves. Well, I'll let it happen, I guess. This is a terrible holly bush. I don't like hollies that much in front of my house, but you know, what are you gonna do? They came with the house. And then this is my front yard. There's our red porch, some stuff down here. I got some more iris going in here. These are pretty new as well. All kinds of different sorts of irises, and they do have tags. So this one is a change of pace, which I think is I want to say this is like a frilly pink one, but it hasn't bloomed yet. It's too new. This one, which is just barely coming up, is also new. This one's called Freedom Song. I don't know what color that one is, but I want to say it's blue and red is why they called it that. So we'll see what that does. Another iris here. This is Kissed by the Sun. I love iris, and it's dead easy to grow. You just put it in the ground, barely. Like this one, you can see some of the rhizome, and it's totally fine with that. The thing is, you don't want iris to get too wet because it will drown. Coming down here a little bit, this is a Brugmansia. which you may know by the name Angel's Trumpet. And this is a new planting. I'm going to see how it does in the ground. I'm going to mulch it in real good. But it should be hardy here. I just put it in the ground like a month ago and it's doing good. But the cool thing about Angel Trumpet is that this plant will die back to the ground. It is an herbaceous perennial, which means that it dies off, but it comes back from the root when it freezes. And it'll get to be, I don't know, 6-7 feet tall probably in the course of a year. It's just, so it's going to go to, I don't know, here-ish probably, I'm guessing. And then it has these things, the flowers on them look like trumpets that hang down. They're probably foot-long trumpets. They're coming, I don't know, white, cream, yellow, pink, I think, all kinds of different colors, and they smell awesome, and deer don't touch them. So just like somebody, I think Feta was saying, the elephant ears are a little bit toxic. Yeah, deer don't mess with them much. That's why I have them planted in the front of my house as well. This is very toxic, and so deer don't mess with that at all, which is awesome. So if this one makes it, I have a few more in pots actually up here on my steps, so we'll see here in a bit. And if this one makes it, then I'm going to put Brugs in here. And it'll be a nice screen, a little bit of privacy from the neighbors, and it'll look awesome for the neighborhood. There's some other iris. I don't know what these are. They came without a tag. They were just a pass-along iris, so we'll see what happens there. But it looks like it's doing real well, so that's cool. Next year, that'll probably bloom for me. This is an elephant ear called Blue Hawaii. And you can see these veins on the front, but the veins on the back are even more vibrant. And I love these. This is also a new planting. I put this in this year, so next year it'll probably be even bigger. And again, I'm gonna have to cut it back and dig up the root corm, which is down in here. They aren't too deep, so it ought to be pretty easy. I still have the flags in here because there's a power line that runs right there. It's like, even that remind me, don't dig here, Mike. But this is it's the Blue Hawaii Colocasia. Pretty easy to find, I guess. But a lot of times you'll find them in like Home Depot or whatever, and they'll be mislabeled. So Blue Hawaii always has this awesome vein structure, and that's Blue Hawaii. These are Budalias as well. There's one here, and there's one here, and these will get to be about the same size as this elephant ear is this year, next year probably. This one will be a little bit smaller, so I put it on the inside. This one a little bit bigger and bushier. So should be able to see this in the front, and these come up real early, and they flower hard and early, and then they'll sort of be, I don't know, a cute little greenish bush, a little bit of see-through. We'll see another one over here that's more mature, and this will be behind it. So that's my plan. And then even behind that, these big Brugmansias. So hopefully this garden will work next year. And there's a little bit of wandering Jew here, which is just done flowering. You can see the little pink flowers at the ends. This is a giant wandering Jew. This is a very juvenile specimen of this guy. It's gonna get way bigger. Here's some of that Crocosmia that'll be orange. It already bloomed. It's kind of done. What else do we have here? This little guy. This little guy is brand new. He's an Abelia, and he does this. So it's gonna turn red, which will be very nice. Then it has nice sprays of flowers. I love Abelia. I have several of these kinds of plants, so this is the only one I have of this particular one. If you can dig a hole, you can plant a star. It's pretty good. I got that at the plant sale last weekend too, so that's brand new. Looks like I've got a little bit of iris here that's just popping up, which is a little bit late, but what are you gonna do? I might need to move that. I think it's buried a little bit deeply. Let's see. Maybe just unbury it a bit. Iris don't really like to be that mulched in. Yeah, I'm gonna unbury these. I'll just push some of this aside, but yeah, a little bit of that. Another weird strappy bulb. I got a bunch of random bulbs from my aunt, who's quite the horticulturalist, and I'm not sure exactly what they are until they come up, but it's got a very thick leaf on it. I don't know. We'll see what it is next year. Just a little touch of Angelina here because that'll grow anywhere. I literally took a handful of Angelina from the back and threw it on the ground. And it has taken on just fine. Let's see, what else do I have in here? This guy, which I should have a tag for. The tag seems to be missing. There it is. This is Thalictrum black stockings. This is another little swampy sort of plant, and this gets fairly damp up here, so this ought to take off pretty well. I need to put a better stake in here. I'm going to forget what this is. All right, that'll get a new name tag. But that ought to be about a foot tall, and it has these black stems, which ought to look pretty cool. Once it gets bigger, it's again very young. Everything here is new, so I double dug all of this as well, going back up to the house. This is my summer project, and it's why some of the other beds have been a little bit neglected. But I think it'll pay off. This is a shitty tree. I think that's the fantastic scientific name for it. It's actually a flowering black plum. Mostly looks like this. This is a little offshoot. And I hate this tree. It sucks. It looks like this most of the year, sadly. It's just not a good tree. Sometimes it has purple flower or purple leaves on it. And there's like a brief period of purple blooms, or like sort of purpley pink blooms in the spring. But the rest of the year, this tree sucks. So I'm gonna tear it out of the ground. I've been I've been about half tempted to just like tie a chain to it and tear it out with my truck, just drag it into the street. Yeah, I'm gonna make room for that Japanese maple. That's gonna go here. The Japanese maple loves sun, and the more sun you give it, the brighter it gets. Like the stems turn bright red and bright yellow. So that's gonna go here, and it should be, I don't know, probably 15 feet tall or something, which is probably a few feet taller than this. But yeah, no, this tree sucks. We've had it in this, it came with the house. And you see these every once in a while in this neighborhood. I don't see any actually from here, but this is a terrible tree. They're prone to disease and all kinds of dumb stuff, so that's gonna go away. There's a bunch of variegated iris in here. This has totally gone to pot because this is entirely filled with black-eyed Susans, which you can barely see. Here's a couple of leaves. So I'm basically gonna dig this out, separate the iris out of it, and then throw the rest away and make it into a new bed. There's this very beautiful mum here, though. Look at this guy. Tons of flowers. I've had this mum for probably 4 years. It just keeps coming back. It blooms like twice a year. It's pretty awesome. But this centerpiece tree sucks. So there you go. There's a hawk. I don't know if you can see it. There it is, that black speck up there. That's a hawk. Just hanging out, riding the thermals over my driveway, hunting for a scraggly dog. Oh, it's gone. All right. So this is actually my office window. This is where I do all my filming, is through there. And that's why I get so much light in there, is because this window basically gets sun all day long. There are a couple hours in the morning where it doesn't, and a couple hours in the evening where it doesn't, but the sun is directly behind me. So yeah, we have a lot of hawks, a lot of buzzards, that kind of stuff around. This tall yellow one here, that's Nose's window. Yeah, that's where he likes to sit, right in this corner. That's it. Well, yeah, it'd be nice to have a good tree to shade that window. Maybe whatever I put here will be. I'm thinking I'm going to bring this garden kind of out this way. So I have like a path coming through here going out to the street area, and then I expand this maybe out into this no man's land here. Maybe I'll put some trees and shrubs and stuff in there. But I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do with this front yard yet. Right now it's just kind of a boring front yard. It's got more stuff in it than everybody else's front yards. But it's kind of boring right now. So this garden's really going to liven up this corner, I think. And then I got to do something with this little island. It's not good to have just like isolated islands of stuff, I don't think, but that's the way the house came, so I haven't changed that yet. So this yellow one right here is a Coreopsis, this is kind of a gangly, tall, weirdo bush, but as you can see from all the past buds on here, it really did well. Super good performance on this guy, and all those were these tiny yellow flowers. I don't think, yeah, they don't smell like anything at all, but pollinators love these guys. I have it staked up because, well, I was kind of getting blown around. There's also a couple of glads that come up back in here. There's a hosta back in here. All that stuff is gone. This is just liriope, which does bloom, but not a whole lot. Actually, there's one glad spike left. That's all that's left in there. A little bit of grass. I need to get on the weeding on this one. Look at this. Get out of here. We don't need you. More cannas. I got a giant bucket full of cannas from a good friend of mine who took them out of his yard. There's another abelia. This is a different kind of abelia called a kaleidoscope abelia, which is, it mostly does this. It just looks gold all the time. It looks awesome. I'm not sure what to do exactly with this yet. A lot of times I'll put annuals in this area, but I didn't this year. And as you can see, the grass kind of took over, and I've been trying to kill off the grass. Selectively poisoning grass is a little bit hard in this garden. another little bush right there that's not doing a whole lot right now, but it'll do more later. This is another Abelia that's decided it's going to bloom like crazy. I've had this one for about a year longer. So, let's see, wait, 20 years to shade. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I just want to block. Well, yeah, you don't want to block the view to Pikes Peak, but it would be nice to have some shade, I guess. This is another Abelia, like I was saying, and this one has grown up enough that it's flowering for me more. This one had a little bit of flower action, but you get these big, heavy mop heads of flowers. And these are actually past. The flower's a little white bit, and this is just sort of like an after flower. But I think it's really cool. There's another one with a bunch of little sprongers. But it flowers, I don't know, a couple of times. It looks really nice. I need to cut this one back a little bit to shape it, but I think it's a cool plant. So, yeah, there you go. These were surprise lilies. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot in here. There's a little bit of ground covery type stuff. This like little sedum mats, which have got some nonsense growing in there. But these were all surprise lilies, and they're all done, as you can see from the, little strings of blossom left. This is a shoot, I've forgotten what this thing is called. It's so stabby. This is always about a week, or I don't know, probably about 10 minutes from getting torn out of here, but it does look nice now. But if we look closer at these stems, there we go. You can see that there are a ton of thorns hidden in there, and they're the same color as the leaves. This plant is a bastard, but it looks kind of nice, so I haven't torn it out yet. I did tear out its friends, which were over here, and they kept stabbing me. This will go through even heavy leather gloves. They're very, very mean stickers. And then here, for quiet, you can see some honeybees. I don't often have a lot of honeybees in my yard. I used to have a beekeeper that lived about 2 houses down, but they moved, and so they took their bees with them. But if you look here, we got at least like 3 or 5, 3 to 6-ish honeybees in here, getting on these flowers. I have no idea what this flower is, but I like it, so I let it keep going. But it's nice, yeah. We have the thing about honeybees in North Carolina is that they're not, they're not native here. So we also have like 570 types of native bees, and they're all better pollinators than honeybees. Honeybees, wait, there's one. It looks like a fly, but it's actually a bee. And they don't sting or anything. It's just like little tiny ground bees and solo bees and that kind of stuff. But and most of them are teeny tiny, but there's like 500 of them, and they're all better pollinators because the honeybees will take pollen and they pack it into these tight little packs on their legs, but then it doesn't pollinate the rest of the flowers they visit because it doesn't fall off. It's too efficient. They take it back to the hive and make honey out of it. The good thing about honeybees is they're portable, so they're good for crops, but the native bees are actually way better pollinators, so I encourage them. Here I had a silverleaf cotton Easter, but it didn't make it. It just kind of died. It should be here. If anything pops up here next year, I'll know what it is, but it's not that. This is a little flamingo grass that is just starting to put out some blooms. You can see these are going to be blooms soon. That's a catmint right here, this bright green bit. This is like an ornamental oregano that's kind of past. It'll come back every year. This is a Stokes aster that's not doing much now. You can see it had a bunch of, these are all flower stalks, but it's kind of not the right time of year for that. These are like little bowling ball shaped yews that have kind of grown together into one. They're not going to really get any bigger than this, but if they do, that's okay. I'll just move my Stokes aster if they get too big and overshade it. This is an ice plant. I love ice plant. I have a few of them, but they do this. Oh, you're a grass. You get out of there. This grass is impossible to get rid of, man. I tell you what. Ugh. But it's this succulent guy. It's hardy here, and it has these awesome blooms. This one's kind of a thready pink. I've got some that are white. I've got some that are sort of fireball colored. All kinds of cool stuff. Here's another one. I don't remember the name of this this particular elephant ear. I think it's Hawaii blue. It makes sense to me. It's not quite as cup-shaped as the one in the back, but it's kind of getting there. You do have these up-formed cups, and you get these beautiful like water droplets and stuff in there when it rains. They all collect in the middle. These all kind of stand up and they just like collect water, which is really cool. And then dump it out. The coffee cups in the back do that too. They'll like collect water, and the wind hits and they go whoosh, just drop tons of water. They're very sturdy leaves. And this is that same blue Hawaii from the other side. I had one that I didn't think was going to come back. It was actually this one. So I got another one, which is that one over there. And then this one came back, and I was so happy. So, there we go. And look at this leaf, man. They get more dramatic the older they get. Look at that thing. Super cool. Beautiful. A couple little bulb type critters in here that really shouldn't be coming up yet, but I don't know, something must have fooled them. They'll be all right. This guy is a trillium. Right there. Sorry, Tradescanta, rather, called Sweet Kate, and it has. It's kind of a grassy sort of guy. It's got these like long, thin leaves, but then these are all flowers most of the summer that look like. There's one that's left. They kind of look like this. There's big clumps of them. This is really pretty. I don't usually do purple, but that's really pretty. And for some more purple, this is a beautyberry that died like 2 years ago, and then this year came up looking like a weed, but I was like, this is woody, and I recognize this leaf. And I'm glad I left it, because I love beautyberries, and I didn't think it just didn't take off when I planted it. It just kind of died off. Plants are weird, man. These are the berries. So there were little flowers here most of the summer, like little bitty flowers of these terminuses. And then the flowers go away, and you get these clumps of berries that just like encircle the branches. And when all the leaves fall off, the berries will stay. So you end up with these like very pretty branches, because they're like this silvery kind of color. And then berries. So that's a beautyberry. It's a great bush. This is another version of that thing in the back that I can't remember. Yeah, it's sold as a houseplant all over the place. It'll come to me. This is an obedient plant that has totally fallen apart. You can see it's got a few flowers on it left, but obedient plants are one of those things that's like calling a big guy tiny. They're usually not obedient. This one, however, is called Miss Manners, and the thing that obedient plants usually do that sucks is that they just overwhelm any garden you put them in. You can't get rid of them. This one stays in a single clump and doesn't move. So while it's gotten bigger over the last couple of years, it stays in one place. And while it's actively growing, it's very tight. So it goes straight up. And this is a whole bunch of just straight up tall flowers right here behind the elephant ears. But as you can see, with all the wind and age and cold and stuff, it's starting to fall apart. So I'll cut off these stems and I'll just lay them on top of it as mulch, and they'll be fine. I've got a couple of iris and daylilies here that need to be moved to the back because the deer love to eat these daylilies. I don't know what color they are. They've never gotten a bloom because the damn deer will eat the buds. So, there's a couple of juniper rugs in here. Not a whole lot to see there, I guess. These are all brugmansias on my steps. Going up the steps here. And then here's another one that's in a pot. Let's see, are you gonna have buds on them? I don't see any buds. This one will go inside. I don't really think he's hardy, so I'm going to take him inside for the winter. He'll go in the garage right here. This is an Acuba japonica. I have a couple of Acuba japonicas, and they're really grown for foliage. They don't really do anything else. It's got a little bit of sunburn, which is weird because this plant's been here for years and hasn't had any problems, but a little bit of sunburn on some of the leaves. Nothing big, though. But look at these leaves. Cool variegation. These come in a zillion different patterns and that sort of thing. This is a gardenia down here that's just looking like a bush right now. I told you I'd show you a mature buddleia, and that's this. So this right here is a mature buddleia, and it's a big one. And this thing, each of these spires, when this is actively growing and kind of new, it kind of comes straight up to about here. And then each of these spires is just covered with what do they call them? Panicles, I guess, of flowers. So you can see each one of these little bumps used to be connected to a bunch of flowers. And then they turn into seeds, these little seed pods, and drop off, and that's kind of it. And this will die back. I'll cut it back here in a little while. A couple of things left in here to be potted that I haven't done yet. A couple little hydrangeas. There's some Solomon seal that lives down here. It's a nice little shade plant. I'll probably put some in the back, but I haven't yet. They're just little rhizomes, little runners that it grows on. Let's see, what else have I got around here? I got my brugs of various kinds. There are a couple of different kinds of brugs here, and they look the same until they bloom, and I don't remember which is which, so I gotta wait for the darn thing to bloom, and then I'll know how to put the name badges on them. This is a ginger that really needs more sun, but it's getting cold anyway, so I'll take it inside. It's not hardy. It's got a couple of Mother's Millions in there, just sitting around the bottom of the pot. This is a hydrangea, which was over on the side of my house where I thought it would be very happy. It's supposed to be like a 10-foot tall hydrangea, and it was just like a stick with a leaf on it. I went, crap. So I dug it up. It was out there for like 2 years, just sort of maintaining but not flourishing. And so I put it in this pot, and it's put out a bunch more leaves. So it's much happier in this pot than it was out there. This fun critter, which has decided to grow around, that silly. This is a night blooming cereus. I posted some pictures in the Slack a while ago, because I finally got to see the bloom on one of these, but this was just a stick that I took off the main plant and stuffed in some dirt right there, and it's really taken off. That one stick has turned into a big bunch of leaves, so the mother plant is over here, the one that was blooming. This is a rubber tree, affectionately named Condom by my cousin Megan back a million years ago. Actually, this plant is older than I am. It's 40 something. But just kind of hanging out. It'll go inside for the winter. Probably tonight it's going to go inside. It's tropical, can't handle too much cold. We haven't had frost, so it's been fine. But this, I actually don't know what this is. I can't remember. I bought this as an annual like 3 years ago. Put it in this railing pot. And it has these nice trailers that are pretty colored. But then it gets like these beautiful bright pink leaves or flowers on it. Most of the summer. They've kind of gone now, but we'll see if it lasts again. It wasn't supposed to have survived the winter, so I'm shocked that it did. Just like a little ice plant in here too, because this stuff is cool and it's easy to transplant and can handle some drought. I tend to forget to water this, so unless it rains, this doesn't get watered, but this doesn't really care. Oh, there's one. There's a little flower. Yeah, so you get a lot of that. Tons of that all over this plant. So I don't know what it is, but it's cool. And this ungangly mess right here, these are actually for luminaries. I'm saving those. That was a moss rose, but it's definitely done for the year. This is the mother plant of that night blooming cereus, little baby that I had there. And these are the blooms that are done. They just sort of fall off. Throw those in the bushes. I need to cut this guy back. They tend to get weird looking. But if I break off this leaf, I can stick it in dirt and it'll grow. The plant is awesome. So if you have a chance, grow a night blooming cereus. It's real cool. I don't know, let's see what else we got here. Oh, there you go. There's another extreme extreme post-it. It's not tearing off the paint yet. This one's stuck to painted wood. 7.4. That's not a joke. That's when I put it up here. So I'm still there. This one's kind of out of the wind and rain, but stuck to some paint. I didn't know if that was going to stick or not, but it did. Let's see. This is called a Sweet Henry, and it just kind of looks like this during the winter. The leaves stay on mostly, but they turn a dark burgundy. Usually they're much more like this green, and this will put out lots of white flowers a couple of times this summer. Looks pretty good. As you can see back in here, I've got a lot of wild violets growing in here. That's what these guys are. All wild violet. And then of course iris in there as well. Those are doing fine. When I cleared out my bed earlier last year, I ended up with a zillion little cutlings, and so I put them in here. That's the thing about iris in this part of the country, is that you get one, you're gonna be sharing with your neighbors in a couple of years because you'll have too many. These were peonies. Can't even really see them unless I go like this. They are definitely, their time is over. Those are peonies. Those are my grandmother's peonies, actually. I don't love peonies because they're beautiful for, I always call them flags. Yeah, you can call them flags too. Yep. The thing about peonies is they're beautiful for about 2 days. And then they just look like a mess the rest of the year. So I put them back here where I can enjoy them, and then they just kind of look like junk for the rest of the year, but what are you gonna do? This is a beautiful little plant whose name is entirely escaping me, and I don't think I have a tag on it anywhere. It's another one that I know the name of whenever I'm not trying to say the name of it, but it's often covered in these tiny pink blossoms. It's real pretty. Nice little bright yellow and green shrub. And this will probably get about, it's not going to get much more than, maybe it'll get twice this size, but not too big. This is a black crepe myrtle, which is very cool, but it comes out very late in the year. It's not blooming anymore, but it just kind of just finished blooming. These are actually seeds. These little fruits. But the leaves are all black, which is totally weird. Makes for a nice contrast to the bright pink flowers, but came with the house. Really like it. And they get ants. Yeah, they actually need ants, I think, is the deal. Or scientists are split on whether they need ants or not. That's the peonies. The ants are supposed to help the flowers unfurl, but because they like leak a little bit of sugary sap, so bringing the ants, and the ants like help the flower come out. I don't know. They're weird. It's a weird plant. This is another beautyberry. This is actually a variegated beautyberry, and I hear it's the only stable variegate beautyberry. A lot of time with variegated plants, as we'll see maybe with this bush I'm about to come to, they'll be variegated, which means they have 2 different colors of leaf at least, and then like their true nature will take over, and once it does, it's kind of over with. But this one is a true variegate, so it's pretty neat. And it does have white berries, but I don't really see any now. This plant has been kind of a weirdo since I got it. Whereas the other one is tiny and has bright purple berries. This one should have white berries. We'll see. There's more crocosmia in here. This is a Laura petalum, which is a fringe flower bush. It doesn't have any. Oh, there's one. Here's a flower. You can see why they call them fringe flowers. I need to cut this one down a little bit, but it's actually kind of a nice bush. It's all ungainly, but once you got this crocosmia in here, when this blooms, it's bright red, like stalks are bright red. And there were about 4 in there, and now as you can see, they go all the way through in here. They've been beaten down. I think maybe a deer slept on them or something. But, you know, whatever. They'll fall down there, and they'll be fine, and they'll come back up the next year. They're like a tiny little bulb. This is another fringe flower. It looks kind of junky, but yeah, I haven't done anything about it yet. This is a red hot poker, which doesn't have any pokers on it now, but here's one of the stalks. This is a flower stalk, and these flowers get about this tall, so about 5-ish, 6 feet tall, and they come up pretty quick. And hey, Sarah, what's up? And they have like the poker end is like, it's bright orange. It's like a bottle brush basically. It's bright orange and then bright yellow at the tip, so it looks like a burning torch. Pretty neat. This is a red twig dogwood that I need to cut back to the ground probably this year because it grows incredibly fast. It looks nice right about now, and it looks nice over the winter. And the reason they call it a red twig, if you're not familiar, is that if you look at the branches, they're bright red. And so soon, all of this massive mass of leaves will fall off of it. As I said, it's only started to get chilly here, so they're starting to turn purple. That's usually just a green bush. When all the leaves fall off, all of the new wood on this thing is bright red, and it remains that way all winter. Here's another one up here that's like, look how red that is. It's crazy, right? And so you end up with this like mass of sticks that are real cool. Dogwood you prune by decapitating? That's accurate. I'm gonna cut it down to the ground basically. Just to the ground, just cut this guy off. Because actually, I've cut it twice this year because it gets so tall I can't see to like back out of my driveway, and that's within a year, or just within one growing season. So this will get cut back, but I'll take a picture of it and probably post it when all the leaves fall off because it does look rad. That's a weed, probably a ragweed, or some kind of goldenrod that just decided to grow up through it. I missed. Got a little crepe myrtle here. This crepe myrtle is also a volunteer. When we bought the house, there's a crepe myrtle here where the red twig dogwood is. And in the first big storm, it got blown over and like twisted apart. Like it just got destroyed. And so I took it out, but apparently some of the roots survived. And so 3 years later, this came up this year, like just came up from the ground this year. Neat. So hey, free crepe myrtle. This plant, I don't know what it's called. I can never remember. It's an incredibly common landscaping plant. It's basically a vine that can be formed into either a bush or a tree. It's a weirdo plant that is super adaptable, and that's why they keep using it for everything. But it does get out of hand. It needs to be trimmed back real hard this year. But it's a very nice variegate. Here's the variegation. Look at that, real pretty, right? Here's what it usually looks like. This is the non-variegated form, and this is actually coming right out of the plant. Like this is the same plant, just variegated, non-variegated. So what I need to do is find where these terminate, and probably today, and chop off these green ones so that it doesn't turn the whole rest of the plant, because it will revert, unfortunately. There's some kind of weird fir that decided to grow here. Mosaic genetics. Yeah, that's right. That's what it is. There's some beautiful variegated iris. These have tiny purple flowers. What? There's a canna? I don't know how that got out here. Must have been a helpful bird planted it. This is another flamingo grass. There's you can barely see the flowers on this. I really need to make a mass planting of this. I've got a couple more grasses that I'll probably put out here next to it. And just make grasses in here. And maybe let canna hang out and just, I don't know why it's there, but it's cool. Looks like it's doing fine. I guess maybe I'll put some more cannas over here. They're pretty. There's another bit of this variegate trying to naturalize. The other thing is this bush started out as I think maybe 2 bushes, and it's at least 3 or 4 now. It travels underground and comes up, and I said this would be a good place for a bush, so I let it be there, but I gotta get rid of this naturalized bit. And that's kind of the garden, y'all. Well, the gardens. I've got some other stuff that's in the garage, but I forgot to open the garage, so... Oh, here's a little bit more. This is my mailbox. This is basically creeping phlox and a brand new little dianthus that I put in there. Dianthus is a beautiful little flower. What's the mint green thing? This? Everything's kind of green right now. This is creeping phlox. A couple of times this summer, especially in the early autumn, or not autumn, spring, it comes out with white and pink flowers, depending on which part of the plant it's attached to. So yeah, it's kind of it. So the new parts, they aren't super exciting right now, but they will be. Next year they should be kind of awesome. So I'm looking forward to next year in this garden because things will finally actually be blooming and will be like a decent size and not just look like a couple of leaves sticking out of some mulch. There's a metal box-like thing a moment ago. Oh. I don't know, let's see. Over here? This thing? Oh, this stuff down here? I don't know. It's some weed. But I don't know. I don't mind it. It's got nice looking foliage. It doesn't seem to be choking out my plants, so I don't really care. But yeah, that's all that's over here, really. I do have some mint. I think it's called hens something, maybe. Hens. I think it's a hen something. It's basically a weed here. But a weed is just a plant you don't like, and I kind of like that one there, so I let it stay. It also does, it also looks like this. So it turns sort of red. I think it's kind of nice. So I let it stay. But yeah, so anyway, this will look a lot more impressive next year. I do have a lot of work coming up probably tomorrow if we actually get some legit frost. If we don't get frost tomorrow, then I'll have plants for a while. But if we do, then well, I'll have to go and dig up a whole bunch of elephant ears, basically. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me for like an hour or whatever. Sorry about the break in the middle. I'll have to put these together as 1 and 2 when I actually post them online. But yeah, thanks. I mean, do y'all have any questions? Because I might be able to answer some like light garden questions if you want. I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm gonna walk around in the back while y'all are thinking. How are the sticky notes? Well, Bijou, we saw a bunch of them. And they're doing fine. Actually, I'm about to go back to another one. Let's see. Here's where they are. Still doing good. I mean, they're mildewy and kind of gross. But they're still well stuck. No problems at all. They are extreme. This is my patio set. This is actually my grandmother's patio set that my aunt gave her probably 20, 30 years ago. I got it when my grandmother passed away and had it powder coated for like a couple $100, and it's been perfect. So, you know, I mean, I know some of my garden stuff. I'm not the expert some others are, but I do have fun with it, and I like looking at it, and I hope that my garden planning goes well. It could be a total disaster, but who knows? Who knows? Here's my fire pit. It's getting to be cold enough to actually light a fire pit, so that'll be cool. But it's not quite yet. Not quite yet. All right. Well, folks, thank you for hanging out with me. So that's my garden. That's what I got going on back here in the front and stuff. And I'll see y'all later. Peace out.